Hi, I'm Sean Keener. I said my first major responsibility is to maintain a meaningful therapeutic walk with God each day. And somebody said to me recently, no Bible, no breakfast. I've never heard that before. And that person actually said they hadn't missed a devotional time for 40 some years, not a single day. It was very impressive. So I want to maintain a meaningful therapeutic walk with God each day. Some ways that I've been doing that and want to want to make sure I continue to do that is to hike in a local state forest at least 15 days a month for about an hour. I do a lot of prayer and Bible memorization during that time. There's a park just 10 minutes walk down the street called Ames Knoll, about 700 acres. I want to do a lot through my Fitbit. I have my sister-in-law, Emily, who lives in Pennsylvania. I'm in Boston. Who lives in Pennsylvania, is a good accountability partner to help me make sure I'm doing those walks, getting enough steps in, eating below my Fitbit daily calorie limit just to be healthy and feel well. And I'd like to spend at least 30 minutes in devotional time with my wife, Pam, at least 15 days a month. I'd like to reveal more of my spiritual walk with my governing council. That's the church elder board at our church. I usually email them every Thursday, and I just want to be more open and vulnerable with them. And I want to make sure I read one chapter of the Bible to my 9 and 11-year-old girls at bedtime. Try to aim for 4 days a week. So the second major responsibility is to be really present in my mind and my heart and my time with my family. I want to make sure that I want to try to aim for at least 5 hours a week with my kids with no screens, for any of us, not watching a movie or something, just something very intentional, no distractions, maybe playing a game, maybe going to the park together, and instead of sitting on the bench reading a book, I push them on the swings or chase them through the slides and stuff. I'd like to try to aim for at least 3 hours similarly with my wife, and not have my cell phone or computer or, not do work, church work or school during that time. I'm a lead pastor at Brookville Bible Church outside of Boston. So I have a psychological addiction to checking messages, mail, phone apps to see, basically what fish I caught, who is corresponding with me, and I have to respond right away. So I need to really keep that in check. I'm going to try to, between 5 o'clock at night and 8 o'clock the next morning, to really not access them or open them up unless there's some reason I know I should for my kids or my wife or something like that. I want to write a handwritten letter to one of my family members every Saturday morning if possible. I haven't done that for a long time, and I really want to draw our family together tighter. I have our oldest son is 22 and married and giving us, God willing, giving us our very first grandchild in January. And he and his wife, David, and his wife Katie live in Tucson, Arizona. And then we have 4 kids at home. The third major responsibility I want to keep in my forefront is to simplify my role as lead pastor even more than I have during this doctoral program. So Andy Stanley said something that always sticks with me: only do what only you can do, as sort of a top leader. And so I want to focus on only what I can do. I want to focus on time in the town because that's very important to me, that exposure. And then, of course, preaching. And to do that, I want to rely on my coworker Carol to screen a lot of things for me. I want to stick to my iCal schedule and give myself a lot of grace with that because we have a lot of family doctor's appointments. We have 2 specially abled children. I want to recite my 3 things statement, the 3 things just for me, every morning when I come into my office. So I am a visioneerer, I am a communicator, and I am a team builder. That's why I'm hired as a lead pastor here at Brookville. That's what I got to keep myself to and not let myself get stuck into other things. And that's even more important while I'm in the doctorate program. I want to rely on my preaching team to keep me to 30 or less sermons each year. I want to consistently find ways to communicate my doctoral work with our church and to make it directly and currently benefit them by choosing research for that purpose. So I don't know if my church will ever, if the rank and file of our church will ever be as excited as I am about the program. I'm sure they won't be, but I want to at least make it accessible so they like some of my work and what I'm doing, so that if they're interested, they can sort of tag along and keep current. What responsibilities must I excuse myself from? That was the second question, or another question from chapter 3. Church facility maintenance. I do too much of that, so I need to pass that off. We want to do a generosity initiative here at church to raise money for capital improvements, and I need to make sure I don't do much of that I have a team in place to do that. Most of the networking that I love to do with area pastors and such, I need to just forgo that during this period, as much as that hurts me to say that. I don't know if this might help anybody. I've been finding some success with this. I rely heavily on my iPhone's Do Not Disturb setting. In fact, I keep that 24/7, Do Not Disturb. And then the only people that get through are people that are on my favorites list. And so they can get right through, and I have all my family and some other key people and friends on there. But then everybody else just goes to voicemail, and it screens it for me. If they leave a voicemail, I might respond, or I probably will respond. And if they don't leave a voicemail, I just forget all about it and don't ever follow up on it. So that really helps. And I keep all my notifications off. I empty my main mail inbox every time I go into it. So I put most of it in different folders, appropriate folders. But then any emails I need to act upon, I move them over to reminders and schedule them that way. So that always stays empty. That just makes me not as stressed. I have every hour of the week loosely assigned to something in my iCal. Even if other people can't see it, it's an appointment for me. So it's an appointment to set aside, these many hours for the doctoral work each day and things like that. And each day I maintain separate reminders lists labeled for the next 5 non-Sunday days. So like I'll have Friday the 31st and, Tuesday the 4th. And I put just what I need in those. But what I really need to improve on that, I need to be a lot less optimistic about what I can get done on those reminders list. Put a lot less in each one of those. And that works for me because I like checking them off and feeling like I'm getting somewhere. I need to more or less just not be on the internet, not look at the news or anything, because that's addictive for me too, for anything other than school or Netflix with my family. I currently have a newly finished office, which I'm in now, that I can escape to do my doctoral work. If that doesn't work, I can go to my 21-year-old son's room who lives in our house, or I can even go to the town library, work there. I wasn't looking to do any more formal degreed schooling. The MDiv kind of burnt me out. I finished that in 2014, and that really fried me, honestly. And I love learning in school and everything, but I just thought I'm never going to put myself through that torture again. But I'm very passionate about leadership and transition to meet the current culture within the North American church. That's heavy on my heart. So being in New England, we moved from Pennsylvania 3 years ago to be a lead pastor at this church. And being in New England only ratchets that passion up because of just the cultural devastation I see here. And this is sort of ground zero for what's going to happen for the rest of the nation culturally. And so that really stresses the desperateness of this quest that's on my heart. And when I saw Tony's very first introductory email about the THD, that very night, I got it in the evening, I think it was February 12th or something, or 18th. And that very evening, I poured through the website descriptions, and I saw how thoughtful and innovative and intentionally it was structured. And it brought back my love for everything evangelical and my deep respect for the way evangelical does things. Then when I saw the 6 tracks and I saw leadership and liminality as a track, I was sold from that point for sure. I was all in. And talked with my wife. She saw my excitement. She reluctantly agreed and said, I knew you would do this, and I've been telling you to do this. And according to a counselor I've recently started a relationship with, I am something of an INTJ of INTJs, apparently. So, oh well. That's just the way God made me. I'm trying to deal with that. But I think this is a strength for the road ahead for my wife and me toward this doctorate. And as far as the interaction with you guys and faculty and all that, I'm an introvert, so that doesn't come naturally to me. But I've learned my lesson even by reading that book. I really need to make this a priority, and I need to do this early and make strong and consistent open relationships with all of us. I want to be a unit. I want to be tight together. I want to learn from each other and grow together and make each other strong and help each other through our weak points. I really have a hard time wrapping my head around how that looks, how we actually do that, visualizing how that works with our mostly blended, mostly online format. But I'm really willing and determined to overcome my introvert tendencies to figure out the logistics of all that, make it happen. I realize that it pays dividends throughout the program and beyond for me and for you, for all of us. I realize how I might possibly be an encouragement or even life support to someone else, to one of you guys, even if I never know it, or you might be that to me without knowing it. And I think Populi and Canvas and the centrality of everything at evangelical.edu, I think those are a great start and will really help. I like those platforms. I figure after the first residency in September, maybe just seeing each other's faces, we'll all be just so much more motivated to be real responsive on those platforms and make it all work. Can't wait to see you guys later in September.